Well, Justin, thanks for being on the episode of Let's Know Buffalo. I know we've been following each other on social media for a little bit, and I've been super impressed with what you've done there. Your handle on social media, the Dad Chef. How did that get started?
Yeah. Well, I started cooking in my early 20s when I met my wife. I've been married for 7 years, but we've been together
Congrats.
since, I was 20, 19, 20. And when we got our first apartment, she was working very odd hours at a salon. That was her first sort of career.
Hmm.
And then she moved to be a paralegal, more structured, 9 to 5. But I had to cook for myself. I realized, what am I going to do? This
I'm a
very,
master at the microwave.
yeah,
I can
exactly.
grill a mean steak. That's
Yeah,
that's
man.
about the extent that
And
I
that's
got
and that's where
cooking.
you start, and it seems like there's this wall that you can break through,
Sure.
and you have tons of fun with cooking and food and, fueling your body, treating it like a
It's always
temple.
super impressive to me. I was actually just on the phone with a friend of mine who owns a nutrition company today.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the year, like I kind of buckled down with the supplements and, eggs in the morning,
Yeah, man.
up in my protein, eating clean. And I'm like, dude, it's fucking work.
Yeah,
Like
it
it,
is.
like keeping up with it. And I got to
Mhm.
be honest with you, summertime came and I dropped off and I want to get rolling again.
Yeah,
But man, it's,
it
it's a,
is.
from the shopping to the cooking
Yeah.
to the prepping. And I'm like,
Yeah, man. So that's kinda, what spawned the name was, Dad Chef. I didn't actually come up with it, it was my
mm-hmm,
boys and stuff. I'm a season ticket holder for the Bills.
nice.
Huge group, a lot of degenerates, fun dudes, and, I'm the cook.
That's amazing.
Designated driver, get everybody there, get everybody home, and
And you feed them?
yeah, feed them
Oh,
too,
wow.
baby. Yeah, and we went all out, the first year, like 2022, 2023. Um, when Miami came to town, I did a huge seafood boil. When we played Cincinnati, I did Skyline chili in this big, 10-gallon cast iron
Awesome.
that I got delivered into Kenmore on this semi. He's pulling
Uh,
down the street in
Come
Kenmore. Yeah,
on.
bro, it was so
That's
funny.
wild.
So that's how kind of the name spawned. And what really made me start to get buzz on social media actually was negativity around using chef in the name. I'm not a
Really?
chef. Yeah. So people took the name as, okay, he knows everything.
Mhm.
He's teaching people,
Right.
and some things I would do were completely wrong.
Right.
So what ended up happening was all these pro chefs would comment and stuff like that, and I'm like, I had to put not a chef in my bio, all this. And what happened was I ended up learning a ton from them,
Yep.
and now I'm 100 times better. My knife
Oh, that's
skills
incredible.
are crazy, man. I could, chiffonade basil just looking at you right now,
Well, we were
just
just
real
talking
quick.
about how, like, the negativity,
Mhm.
like, fuels and
Yeah.
that's what's terrible about social media.
Yep.
Listen, there's a lot of great things that come from social media, but the negativity is just like I said, I've got a video that's 1.3 million views, and it's been going for like 6 months straight.
Yeah.
Every day, comments, comments, comments,
Mhm.
and my guest said one thing that was accurate. Right, the Bills
Yep.
not hosting a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It is such a trigger, and like people are at each other's throats in the
Mhm.
comments, like insulting people, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I don't know if I got the skin for this, man.
I know it's tough. Yeah, I did struggle with a lot of negative comments. People would DM me and be like, "You're just a total embarrassment. You have no clue what you're doing." And fighting through that is really the biggest battle, I think, with personal brands because
Sure,
it's you.
yeah.
You are the brand. It's not a product that somebody's, taking out frustration on and calling out. It's
Well,
you.
and you're I'm 43, we just
Yep.
talked, you're 31. Um, you've kinda grown up with social media,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Where I didn't. Like, I really didn't
Yeah.
have it until, geez, it just kinda started when I was in college,
Mhm.
like Facebook or
Yeah.
even
It was
MySpace.
Facebook. Yeah.
And now, like, for a while, I didn't even have Instagram until a couple of years ago when
Yep.
I got into sales, and I was like, "Alright, well, now I need to kinda be out there more."
Yeah.
So it for me, it's very different. It's like,
Mhm.
kinda old man learning, but
Yeah.
somebody that's grown up with it,
Yeah.
you got a great following. So how did that kinda we'll go back to the negativity. That
Yeah. Yeah.
transpired through there, made you a better cook, chef?
Yeah, so I started going to, a local butchery, Moriarty Meats. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Mhm,
Tom Moriarty and his
mhm,
wife, his family. He really was a big inspiration for me to really get into, like, the fundamentals and, like, what I'm actually doing, like, what are the different cuts of meat? Where does it actually come from?
right,
Where are the animals from, right? Like, how are they taken care
mhm,
of? Are you wasting things, right? So I had the opportunity to go down there with him and actually butcher a cow.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of the coolest experiences, not only how knowledgeable he is, and how passionate he is, because
Hmm.
he's as much a chef as he is a butcher.
Sure.
He trained in France and Spain and all of that. And just his it's almost a worldview. He's like, I try to get everything clean off of the bone.
Hmm.
All of the fat we save, we use it, we make soap, we do all of this stuff, right? So like there's no waste concept. And I'm like, man, well, how many families in this country put leftovers in their fridge and they just dump it out?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man,
I feel like that's us. We waste
I know.
so many leftovers and so much
Yeah.
food.
And in the restaurant industry, it's even
Worse.
worse,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
There's a lot of laws
Yep.
around it. And, you can't just take all the food at the end of the
Yep.
night and take it down to the mission. It's
Right.
literally against the law. Um, so being around people like that, and I have a lot of friends that are professional chefs, Chef Connor Brongart at Angeline
Hmm.
downtown, fantastic
Great
guy.
restaurant. Yep.
Oh, I know. It's one of the best.
Yep.
Um, Being around these guys really propelled me to be interested in cooking and, having children. I didn't really eat the best
Hmm.
growing up. A lot of fast food. I didn't come from money,
Yep.
right? I grew it
Same.
in this tiny house in Cheektowaga, and my parents were divorced. My mom had a house in Amherst, so I went to Amherst High School and middle school. And I remember being young and, asking my parents, like, we're not eating healthy. Like, I
Right.
knew that
Sure.
naturally. Was like, "What are we doing? Like, why is there no cooking or anything like that?" So, when me and my wife decided we wanna have a family and raise a family, that was one of the core
It's
things.
wild. Since I've had a kid, she's 3.5 going on
Yeah.
4. Like, just looking at food and
Yeah.
scanning food and understanding what's in it, I'm like,
Mhm.
"What can we eat? We
I
can't
know.
eat anything."
I know.
Like, it's
Yeah.
it's so wild how, like, you go to a supermarket and just it's been eye-opening the last
Mhm.
few years.
Yeah, and it's, the struggles with kids being picky. And I really believe that's, not exposing them to foods really early so they get
Mhm.
used to that.
Sure.
My youngest right now is just eating goldfish. That's all he wants
Right.
all the time is goldfish.
Yep.
I'm like, crap, like that's on us.
Yep.
We gave him snacks too many times and now he just doesn't want to eat, actual meals. He's
Yeah, it's
stuck on
hard
that.
because I don't wanna be this helicopter parent, but
I
I wanna
know.
do better than I did,
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
and and make sure they're because we know more now than we did
Totally.
back then, and it
Yep.
it is different, in the processed food and all that shit.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and basically what happened is, just to circle back, like, when we got engaged, I was always the cook, and it started with, we're talking frozen chicken and peas,
mhm.
just the grossest shit, and I'm overcooking, undercooking, no clue what I'm doing. My chili is just all canned stuff.
Love-hate relationship with
Yeah,
chicken, man. When it's cooked right,
yeah.
like, it's delicious,
Oh
but
man.
once you go too far, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yep, no
That's
thanks."
one of my fundamentals too for families is how to roast a chicken.
Oh,
Whole
yeah?
chicken, man. That can feed your family
Yeah,
for a day or two.
yeah.
And it's super easy, really quick. And like I said, you go down to a really quality butcher, that chicken's coming from a farm an hour from here.
Sure.
Right? Like that's
Yep.
awesome.
That
You go into a grocery store, you have no fucking clue.
right.
The ground
No,
beef
that's
is
I remember going to Wegmans and when I was single,
yeah,
right? I would literally grab a go to the gym, go to
yeah.
Wegmans, grab a rotisserie chicken,
Rotis.
take it home in the bag, and literally sit there
Dude,
with a fork,
I know.
just eating the rotisserie
Yeah.
chicken.
That's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it.
Needed the protein, needed to eat.
Yeah, it's a great meal too. And from there I started to really look into ingredients and, different cuisine from all over the place and trying to find out what was like efficient ways to make really healthy food and stuff that we want to eat.
Mhm.
Because I feel like, nowadays with the accessibility of DoorDash and
Yeah.
Uber Eats, you're like, it has to be drawing you in to want to go eat it, right?
Mhm.
Or cook when you could just hit a button, pay
Mhm.
20 bucks and you got McDonald's at your
Yep.
door, right? You're fighting that.
Right.
So, really looking into more ingredients, how to make, things that my family likes. Um, which spiraled into me cooking at the tailgates, which spiraled into my wife convincing me to use that name that they brought up, the dad chef, and
Yep.
make social media.
So let's be clear. We talked about this before. You're not a true chef and it's not
No,
your 9 to 5.
no, it's not. I'm a software engineer by day.
Okay.
So I've been doing that for like a decade. I work at a company called Centivo.
Okay.
It's a self-funded health plan startup. If you're familiar with Liaison, it was kind of like a Buffalo's unicorn before ACV came
Yep.
along. It's like a healthcare marketplace, but the CEO of that company was Ashok Subramanian. He ended up selling that company for 250 million.
Oh wow.
I forgot what
Couple
year.
bucks.
Yeah, nice little yeah.
Pocket change.
Yeah, so then, from there, he started up Centevo.
Okay.
So I got the pleasure to
Nice.
join there really early. They started in 2018. I joined January of 2019. Been there since, and, that really is a passion for me
Hmm.
is technology and stuff like that. And really what I wanted to do at the start was build my own app like everybody wants to do.
Right.
I actually have the skills to do it because that's what I do.
Okay.
So I had this idea of this marketplace for connecting home cooks with people that want to order food, like I just said, DoorDash, but like home cooks,
Yep.
private chefs,
Yep.
the scheduling, messaging, all of that, payment, all through this app. Had some conversations about it, and all that time I was making content on top of that.
Hmm.
And what happened was sort of the momentum behind the app kind of fizzled while the momentum behind the content really started taking
Sure.
off. And I just kept posting and posting. And like I said, through those negative comments, the DMs, you know,
It's always fascinating to me the things that take off.
yeah,
I got to be honest with you.
mhm,
My wife and I call it doom scrolling.
yeah, yeah,
We'll sit there and all of a sudden an hour goes by
yeah.
and it's just like video after video, and I'm fascinated by the simplest of things sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the two videos that really kicked it off for me, and this was posting like probably about a year, and I had probably 3,000 followers on Instagram, couple thousand on Twitter. And there was this video I made of making beef stock at home. And people were really interested in that stuff, like
Hmm.
bone broth, all of that. And, I went down to Moriarty's, grabbed some bones, and I filmed a really nice edit of making it. And what I used to do was have music. I wouldn't talk
Hmm.
or anything like that in my videos at that time. And I posted that, and it did awful, just horrible. I'm like, nah, man, this video is good.
Right.
What's going on? And one of my buddies was like, bro, you have to show your personality. Like, just fire up a mic and talk.
Hmm.
So I did that for that video, and I posted it, and it went 3 million views, in a
Wow.
couple months, and
Good for you.
ran up to 80,000 followers on IG literally in a week or two.
Yeah.
That's how quick it can be. And the funniest thing was a lot of the comments were, some of them were about the content, actually, like, oh, beef stock, so good for
Hmm.
you. Like, how do you do this? Genuine questions. But the top comment was, why are you using tap water for your water? You're not using filtered water. And I'm like, oh man. So my
Here we
comment
go.
back was, I live in Buffalo. It's all right.
Yeah.
And then all the comments under that start going nuts, right? So the algorithm's like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is great. So it just kept pumping that video to people.
That's
And
funny.
the second example was I made a baby food recipe. And it's just a puree of
Yeah.
carrots, and that's really what it is when you see jars of baby food. It's
Hmm.
it's just fruits and vegetables pureed. So I saw this video of this mom that was complaining about that. Her mother-in-law was, guilting her that she doesn't make her own baby food, something like that. I can't remember, but I made a video in response and told that story. I'm like, it's really easy. This is all you do, right?
Hmm.
You take some vegetables and puree them and make sure it's small and smooth. Um, but I didn't skin my carrot, and I left the butt of the carrot in there. And people went nuts about that. And that made that video get,
Yeah.
2 million, 3 million views. And
So that's the thing. Like, even if you make a mistake or,
yeah,
it almost helps you.
I know. It's always the videos that you don't think will perform
Right.
that do.
Sure.
And the ones that you love the most, they do the worst. So you just post. You
Yep.
don't think about it. I don't even think about it
No, I think
anymore.
it's about consistency, and that's
Yeah.
one of the thing I struggle with my day to day is just, finding the time to take and AI's, you know,
Yeah.
just going to take all of this over. And I've got some classes that I'm going to be taking on that I'm almost buying back some of my time because just to stay consistent, right?
Yep.
I'll go a couple weeks or a couple days in a row and like boom, 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 I'm on top of it. And then I'm a ghost for another week, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I started out doing pretty much a video a day. And
Okay.
that is, like I said, I'm a software engineer by day at a startup. That's a lot of time,
Hmm.
right? There's nights that I'm up all night with my
Sure.
devs doing
Yep.
stuff. But other days I get to sleep till noon,
Yeah,
right?
that's great.
It's kind of like get your shit done. We're not really tracking your hours type
Yep.
thing, but it's a lot of hours and it's
Right.
a lot of work. And, I would go from, 7 a.m., get my kids ready, help my wife downstairs in the basement, grinding on that all day. And then, during breaks, coming up with my video idea for
Hmm.
later, going to cook, filming simultaneously, feeding everybody, helping with bedtime, heading downstairs, editing my video, posting my video every single day. And, there's times where you're like, man, like this really fucking sucks. Like
Right.
not seeing any return. I'm not
Sure.
doing anything. And the first real break for me, besides those viral videos, was my first sponsorship. So there's a company called HexClad. I'm not sure if you're aware,
No.
global cookware brand,
Oh,
Gordon
nice.
Ramsay partner. Um, and I was on Twitter, and Twitter I got a good following too, which is great because I love Twitter the
Mhm.
most because it's so feels like a group chat.
Sure.
It's not like a YouTube video, okay, comment
Yep.
section. It's
Right.
literally like a group
Right. A
chat,
little
worldwide
Discord.
group
Yep.
chat. Yeah. Um, so I posted this video and somebody replied to it and was like, hey, you need to be using HexClad. So I go to his profile. It's the president of HexClad following me. And I had no clue.
Wow.
I was like, wow,
Very
man,
nice.
that's a sign right there. So
Yeah.
I reached out to him, took the opportunity to introduce myself and, we went back and forth and I was like, hey, like, can you sponsor me? I'll use your stuff. He was like, absolutely. Like, keep
That's
doing what
incredible.
you're
Yep.
doing. He took a shot on me and that was great. And that was really the start to seeing some revenue,
Hmm.
right? You start to see some revenue and you're like, okay, now I'm going to start to have some cash to take some shots at stuff
Right.
and see what I can do with the brand because clearly it's resonating with people.
Yeah.
Um, and I got into like the merch side of things. I did a bunch of cutting boards, wooden cutting boards made here in Buffalo.
Well, and I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah,
I think that like I love to watch Gordon Ramsay,
yeah,
my favorite,
yeah, I
right?
know,
I
man.
I love to watch his shows, but when these professional chefs are cooking, like I'm never gonna cook
I
that
know.
shit. Like
Yeah.
that is so far beyond. So,
Yep.
you know, I'm not degrading you by
Yeah.
calling you a regular guy, but you're a regular guy cooking shit
Exactly.
that all of us we would that's the stuff we would cook
Yeah. That's
and
the whole
make.
idea. And
Yeah.
and my biggest, really the core philosophy is like, my wife does enough with the kids. She's stay-at-home mom. Our
Okay.
kids are insane. It's tough, dude.
Trust me, I
And
know.
I
I
know.
got one I'm chasing around. My wife
Yeah.
wants to have another one. I'm like, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I, my mom had 4 kids when she was
Nice.
22. She was a homemaker, and I look at her, and I probably told this story before on the podcast. Was like, I'm like, you must have neglected the shit out of us because I don't know how you kept your eye on all 4 of us at one
Yeah,
time.
I know. And I challenge any father to watch your kids by yourself on a Saturday morning all the way until bedtime. Yeah. It'll drive you nuts.
Yeah,
So my wife does enough, I'm gonna cook.
right.
Right. There's that cliche of, the woman cooks this and that. You gotta cook, clean, do all this. Fuck that. I mean, I'll cook.
Yeah,
You know what
no,
I
that's
mean?
awesome.
Yeah, so that was really, again, another inspiration for the name and why my wife was like, "Do it, do it, do it."
Yeah,
And at the
that's great
beginning,
that
she
she's
was
supporting you.
posting.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, she loves it.
sure.
She gets to
A
eat
little
food.
benefits from it,
Yeah, a
right?
little benefit, yeah.
So how is this turning? How are you? You talked about some of the sponsorships and
Yeah,
stuff like that. I mean, monetizing it and
yeah,
like, I mean, uh, anytime I start a new business or I talk to, other entrepreneurs, it's like, hey, listen, like you got to figure out how to do something
mhm,
until it takes over,
yep,
right? And you have no choice but to do it full time.
right,
So, because technically it's part time for you, like,
mhm,
sort of a hobby, but now you can kind of see some things happening where it's like, all right, like,
yeah,
how do I monetize this better
yeah.
or more?
I didn't know how to do that,
Hmm.
and that really jumped into my mind, when HexClad approached me,
Hmm.
and I knew of like these paid partnership posts that you can do, these ad videos, these one-offs with brands, but my goal with partnerships now is monthly retainers.
Okay.
So let's do a 6-month contract.
Yep.
I'll use your stuff exclusively in my
Hmm.
videos, none of your competitors ever. Right. So that's how I structured a lot of my deals. And I've been blessed to partner with Salens hot dogs, man. Like that
Oh, you have
is
your hot
so
dog of the week.
crazy. Yeah. Like I remember I posted a video making hot dogs with my kids in the backyard. Horrible video, terrible quality. It was dumb. And I tagged Salens in it. And they ended up reaching out. They're like, "Hey, like,
Come
we
on.
love your stuff. Like, are you serious?" I'm like, "All right, let's jump on a call." And yeah, that turned into, a long-term paid thing with Salens.
Well, I'll tell you,
And
my wife's in marketing, and often, like, we'll have discussions. She may need some influencers, right? Local.
yeah,
And it's like, all right, well, I know this person, that person. And she's like, all right, get them on the horn. And,
yeah.
they're rewarded for their following.
Yeah, that happened to me recently, last month, and I can talk about this now, but I had to sign an NDA for this before I actually posted it. But it was some work for Snickers, and
Okay.
Josh Allen partnered with
Yeah.
Snickers
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
wash those sauces. And I had this email in my inbox from a random marketing company, like, "Hey, like this and this." I'm like, "All right,
You think it was
whatever."
bullshit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get so many of those.
Yep.
They're phishing links, and I know all of this
Yep.
from my day job, right? So I'm very skeptical. And then there was an email that followed up. She's like, "Hey, like we really want you to do this. Can you reach back out?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Will you be at the Baltimore Ravens game at home, the home opener?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'll be there." She's like, "Can you sign this NDA?" And ultimately, it wound up again paid partnership with Snickers to
So
promote
cool.
Josh's sauces. I'm like, "Come on, man! Like
That's
this is
awesome.
so awesome." And last month I made more from Dad Chef than my day job. First month after 2.5, 3
Congrats.
years of doing this, I was like, "Whoa, that's a really cool milestone
Yeah.
that, all these hours that I put in on the side thing, it's starting to grow."
Well, and that's what you don't see. Like, Gary Vee talks about it, how, like, when he was selling his wine,
Yeah.
when, he first started doing videos, he had 5 viewers, and then
Mhm.
it was 10 viewers. And then, you know, years went by, and then it was millions upon millions of
Yeah.
viewers. Like that lead up to it. Yeah,
Mhm.
you see him now as being super successful, but you didn't see the 20 years of shit that he went through to
Yeah.
get there.
Yeah. And I've had failures too along the way. Like I said, I started the merch side of things. I really
Hmm.
tried to take a shot at that. And bought a ton of inventory up front, thinking I'll do all this stuff, and went negative on that. Like I
Right.
still am sitting on inventory from 2 years ago, and I'm
Sure.
just talking to the guys that do my fulfillment. I'm like, I kind of failed on this. Like,
Yeah.
where do we go from here?
But at
Um,
least at the end of the day, you got to try,
you have to.
right?
That's the point.
It's trial and error,
Yeah.
and I don't care whether you're doing what you're doing or you're starting a business. You got to figure out what works and what doesn't work,
Absolutely,
right?
and you're never gonna figure that out unless you do it.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting at my desk, and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, "This is gonna take some capital. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna take a loan out and really bet on myself because I've taken shots at stocks and
Mhm.
cryptocurrencies in the past, and stuff like that. But betting on yourself, that's a life changing
I
opportunity in a way.
had an ex girlfriend that was a financial advisor, and this is when I was building my video game stores. And she kept harping on me, like, you got to open up an IRA, you got to start saving for your
Yeah.
retirement. And I'm in my late 20s. And I was like, listen, I'm betting on myself. Like, you can guarantee me 7 to 10% or whatever it is in the stock market, right?
Hmm.
I'm like, for me to take that money, I'm gonna make 50
Right.
to 75%
Mhm.
to 150%, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm that confident in what I'm doing that I'm reinvesting back into my business.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you're able to do with your day job, it's like, all right, well, that's the money I live on. My hobby or this little side gig that I have going on, I can reinvest and,
Yeah.
and do other things. I don't need to live off of that money.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
That's why I've been asked before, like, Is this your full? Do you do this full
right.
time?" Like, first of all, no. I have a family to take care of. I have benefits,
Yeah, yeah.
health
Right.
insurance, good salary. Like, I
Yep.
love my job, and it goes against the brand because
Hmm.
really the brand is normal dads working, supporting their families, giving the best life to their kids,
Hmm.
and you're in the kitchen. You're busting ass too
Mm.
outside of your job. You're getting in there, making sure your kids are growing.
Sure.
Give your boys steak,
Right.
milk, get them going, right?
Right.
Like that's the whole thing behind it. So going full time to me would almost be selling out in a way. So where I'm at right now, there is no really going full time. If I came up with a product or something like that, that's totally different.
Hmm.
But the whole content idea around it is inspiring dads to cook for the families at the core.
Yeah, no, I think that's incredible. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that it has taken off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, I think that I've had these discussions with some of my other business owner friends, entrepreneurs, and just being philanthropic,
Yeah.
right? Like having a cause or giving back to a cause or doing something, having a reason behind what you're doing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and, when I started too, I didn't do it this year, just things are so busy, and I didn't get a chance to, but every year I try to go down to the Buffalo City Mission on a Sunday,
Mhm.
and me and a chef will take over and cook for
That's
everybody,
awesome.
and,
I mean, just giving back to your family,
yeah,
right?
oh,
Providing
100%.
healthy, like just that alone, like
Mhm,
people can relate to that. That's
yeah.
just it's genuine, it's real, and it's what needs to happen in the
Yeah,
world, right?
and, honestly, my relationship with my kids and my wife benefit,
Yep.
right? Also too, it's you're inspiring the next generation. I want my boys to grow up better than I did,
Yeah. Be
meaning
self-sufficient, be able
yeah,
to
yeah,
to
learn
be
lessons
well-rounded.
I didn't learn,
Right.
right, with, my parents and stuff like that. At certain points in my life, I really needed, my father to look me in the face and be like, "You're making a huge mistake right
Mhm.
now. Let me guide you.
Mhm.
Let me hold your hand, guide you." I didn't get that, so I really wanna be that man for my kids,
That's awesome.
and, it's really through action, them seeing you through action,
Mhm.
right? Coaching your kids in t-ball, getting out there, being the person that steps up.
On a daily basis, I find myself I'm like, I in a great way, I've turned into my dad.
Yeah,
I hear like, he passed away a few years ago, and when I talk to my daughter or I say certain things or I make my dad jokes or whatever it is,
yeah.
like I mean, again, obviously I'm his offspring, right?
Mhm.
But I've turned into and he's taught me a lot of things and I've taken snippets from other people
Yeah,
and, my mother and my wife and friends and, you make it your own. But
yeah.
quite often I see myself and I hear myself. I'm like, yeah, I've turned into my own man.
Yeah. My wife says I have to in some ways, and I hope it's just the best qualities of
Yeah.
both my parents, right? But there are things that I longed for growing up, lessons from my parents that I just didn't really learn. My relationship with my parents kind of spiraled in certain areas and, turned into this sort of loneliness and longing, this void in me. And I get to fulfill that with my kids.
Mhm.
Be the father that I envision myself that I can be. And
What's funny is like I I I didn't have my daughter till I was almost 40,
yeah, yeah,
my first. And all my friends now have teenagers and college
yeah,
graduates. Like I've watched them raise their kids.
yep,
And I used to joke, they're like, You'll know someday, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know. I've got dogs."
yeah,
And, the people that say their dogs are their kids, I get it, right? But you don't understand the next level of I didn't know that I could care and love for something
yeah,
like I do my own flesh and blood like that.
100%. Yeah. And honestly, raising kids, it's just been so clear to me how important it is to have mom and dad
Yeah,
mind
yeah,
unified, man.
sure.
Like,
And it's not easy,
it's
right? Like,
not.
yeah.
It really isn't. Like, you have to focus on your marriage too,
Yep.
and your relationship with your wife, your spouse,
Mhm.
and man, it would be so hard on our kids and both of us if we weren't together as a unit, right?
Sure.
There's times where they're just screaming for mom.
Right.
Mom, mom, where's mommy? Where's mommy? She's showering.
We always joke,
You know?
like, who's the favorite? Like, this
Yeah,
week you're the favorite,
yeah,
that week you're the favorite.
yeah.
The second I raise my voice at my kid, all of a sudden she
I
wants her
know.
mom.
I know, man. And there's certain things that they call for mom for or me,
Yep.
right? If there's a bug,
Sure.
dad,
Yeah.
there's a mosquito, like help.
You sound you're well beyond your years
Yeah,
of maturity, so
yeah.
congrats on
I
that.
appreciate it.
Um, so where do you see this thing going?
I don't know, man. I'm taking it just day by day,
Yep.
and there's more opportunities that have come, and honestly, there's a lot of opportunities to the point where it's overwhelming.
Mhm.
I was really stressed out this past month, and the previous month with some of these opportunities that have come up for one-off ad videos, and they have these briefs that you read. You have to follow certain things. You can't say certain things. You have to say this. They want this and this.
Right.
So I'm doing 4 of them simultaneously, and I'm getting change requests back and doing this on top of my day job,
Right.
like, things are starting to blend together,
Yeah.
right? And, I was super stressed out. So I think, moving forward, it's finding the right opportunities, saying yes when I know I can do it, and put, my full effort into it, and still be present with my family, and not having it creep,
Well, what's kind of
you
cool
know.
is like you get to make you can make your content
Hmm.
by cooking for your kids and your
Exactly.
family, which
Yeah.
is that's hard
I
to
know.
like that's very rare, I guess. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not hard, but
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah. It's so funny too, because when I cook a meal for my family now, when the camera's off, so quick. It's so fast, and when I
Where you're
start
like
to film,
showing every
yeah,
step.
right, because I invested in a
And the kids
really
are sitting
nice.
at the dinner table like,
Yeah,
"Dad,
I
we're
know.
hungry."
I'm filming this clip. It's that is tough. It really is, and I'm working with meat, and I have to turn my camera off, so I'm hitting it with my pinky and washing my hands, like, man, filming is really, frustrating at
So
times.
does your kitchen set up like a studio with lights
Dude, no, man, I've got
just you
this.
and your camera?
Yeah, man, I've got this little Dutch Colonial in Kenmore, electric stove. I hate that. It's not gas.
It's
It's
wild
small.
how I mean, I'm in real estate, right? So I
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
houses. And man, when somebody comes in and sees an electric stove in Buffalo, they're like, they don't even want to buy the house.
I
I'm
know.
like, you can move the gas line
Yeah,
like it's,
I know.
maybe a couple $100.
Yeah, yeah. And now we're gonna start. This is basically what I've been doing is, like I said, I took some loans out to get this going. I bought a camera, I bought a really nice computer, nice
Nice.
editing stuff, lights. I was paying a videography company to try out some different videos, like
Mm-hmm.
going and butchering the cow at the butcher and
Mm-hmm.
filming our tailgates. This stuff is expensive.
Sure.
And
Oh, trust me. I know.
yeah. Yeah, it is.
Love you, Tyler.
Yeah. You don't just walk in somewhere and start a podcast and you're like,
Right.
It's really going to be successful. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of capital.
No, and listen, coming to the studio, having everything set up, somebody edit it, like I
Yeah.
just don't have the
Hmm.
it wouldn't even get off the ground if I had to do all that.
Exactly.
And so just coming here and putting the content out and talking about it and making the content is like, you know, that's got to be my bread and butter. I can't do everything else.
Yeah.
I just don't have time
Yeah. You need people around you. And, you know, I
to
have
make it look good and make it
yeah.
sound good and
Right.
all those
Yeah.
things.
Or else it seems like it's unfinished in a
Yeah.
way. And I definitely think you need a group around you too to keep you motivated. You're not going to be self motivated every
Right.
single day that you
Life
wake
of an
up.
entrepreneur, man.
Yeah.
That's
You don't just wake up, all right, here we go. Let's
yeah.
make some money
Yeah.
today. Like, that's not how it works. You're going to wake up and be like, wow, I fucking hate myself today. What
Yeah.
do I do? You have to continue to go and do it. So what I've done too is really dialed back the video every day, keeping this pressure on myself.
Mhm.
When I really step back, then my creativity flows and
Sure.
I can take my time and
Well, you don't want it to become a hassle or a chore
yeah,
or not
then you
enjoy
burn
what
out.
you're doing. Yeah.
Burnout is real
Yep.
and that will take away your love completely from something that you're really passionate about. I've experienced burnout in my day job
Mhm.
before, and to the point where you're like, man, like I kind of want to switch careers. Like I don't like where I'm working,
Right.
get in this spiral, but you really have to have balance in life. I've found, and make sure that you're not. It's just work,
Sure.
right? At the end of the day, right?
Right.
Be passionate and give 110% effort. Go get it. Keep your feet moving. But if it's hitting your mental, like go meditate. Go do
Yep.
something,
Right.
right? Like take some time for
Yeah, you got to
yourself.
step away.
You have to
And that's what
hug, yeah,
I kind of my wife works a lot and she's got a high pressure job
yeah.
in corporate and she's one of the first ones in the door and last one to leave at
Hmm.
night and I'm like you got to take a day off.
Yep.
Like you got to just take some time or she'll travel. Like she'll travel through the weekend and then go back to the office on Monday. I'm like,
Mm,
listen, you need that day or two
yeah.
to recharge the batteries
Yeah.
or you're just going to burn out.
Yeah. So what I've really, really enjoyed doing is my in-laws have a cabin out in Eagle Bay in the
Nice.
Adirondack
Okay.
Mountains, probably like 10 miles outside of Old Forge. And going there and putting technology away, just being present there with the birds and, being in the
Yep.
boat and just looking at the mountains, hiking,
Yep.
really brings everything back, to central.
Yeah.
And
Ground yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Literally unplug, right?
That's
Because
awesome.
we're sitting in front of screens all day. At least I am,
Yeah.
and even getting steps in every day is difficult for people in, most fields of work now. Just
Right.
sitting down, like carving time out for the gym, then I have to go to the store and buy stuff and cook, and it can get really overwhelming. So really overextending into an area like content, that can burn you out quick, and that can
Yeah.
have really negative effects for everywhere else in your life too.
Well, I love what you're doing. I
Yeah.
think it's incredible. I can't wait to see what's next. Why don't you, again, promote yourself real quick and tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, I'm Justin. My handles are the Dad Chef on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. You can find me there. My website is dadchef.io. You can buy all my merch and stuff like that, and see partners that I'm partnered with. HexClad, Super Cubes. Different products that I like to use. So the Dad Chef, yeah, man.
Love it. That's incredible. We were just talking with some friends the other day about Miss Rachel, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you got kids under 10, I don't know when she started. It was new to me, but like we Googled her and she's worth $50
I know.
million
Genius.
just off of these videos.
I
And
know.
I give her a ton of credit because my kid has learned so much
Same.
so young, counting and colors and
Yeah.
all these things. It's just like
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah, and that every time I see this come up on podcasts or something, it's about the screen time. Everybody,
Right.
that huge controversial
I
topic.
know.
Yeah, I'm completely on the opposite end of that,
Yeah.
about the screen time having
We
negative
we fight it all
impacts.
the time. It's
Yeah,
like, you know, all right, we got our time at the playground
yeah,
and we got our time in dance class. And, you just have to have the screen time, but it's what we want you to see,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
And every once in a while now she knows what to do. And
that's but
and
how
I'm like,
cool is
how did you
that?
get out of that?
Yeah, and they give tablets to kids now in
Yeah.
schools. You are going to use
It's a
technology.
tool, you got to use it.
So,
Yeah.
the kids that are not the parents are doing no screen time. It's really bad for their emotional development or something. And then, my kids are on their iPads, putting in their own passcode, navigating
Yep.
applications, doing certain things. It's like they're going to run laps around your kid in
Well,
school.
and I think that's what the tough part about school is. And I look back on school and I roll my eyes. I'm like, when the fuck did we even learn?
Yeah.
Right? Like square dancing and, all these other things. I'm like, why didn't you teach us how to use the tools in the world?
Yeah.
Right? Whether
Yep.
it's our hands or uh, our taxes or how to run a business or whatever it is, how to be an electrician,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. But
Yeah. Totally.
awesome, man. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for everything, and we'll
Thank you,
catch up
sir.
soon.
Yeah, absolutely.